no gold is not enough.
Welcome guys, welcome to this video. In this video we are going to create a login system using PHP. So I am using XAMPP. It's running currently, and what we're going to do here is that if I go to the application folder, XAMPP htdocs, I have this Sky folder which is currently set to virtual host, which is sky.test. So currently we don't have any file, it's blank. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a database, and then we are going to connect to that database, and then we are going to proceed to create a login system. So what I do, I simply say here login system and create. So we have a database now with the name of login system. So I'm going to open the directory for this project. I'm going to select, I'm in htdocs right now. Here I'm going to select Sky and open. Now here I'm going to create a file. It is going to be index.php, and now along with this file I need to create a directory for database connection or any other configuration file that we might create in coming future. So I create a directory, we can call it config, and inside this directory I want to create a file which is going to be db.php. Now this file is going to take the connection to database, and we are going to create that connection now. So we need to define a few variables. So first I'm going to start the PHP tags, and then I'm going to define the variables. So first is db underscore server, and which is going to be equal to localhost. Now then db underscore user. Now we want it to be root. By default we get the username root. If you change it, then you need to change it here as well. Now by default we don't have any password, so db password variable going to be empty, and then we have db underscore database. Now the database we just created a moment ago, so we are going to get the same database. So this login system name I'm going to copy and paste in here. Now we need to check if this these details are correct and going to connect with the database. So we need to make a connection. So it's a $connection. Now this is a function. It takes 4 parameters. So first, one by one, we are going to pass these variables here. We are successfully connecting. So what I do is I simply create a conditional statement here. I say if connection successful. Here we say echo connection failed. Alright, this is just to see if the things are working or not. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to include this file into our index.php so that we can see this. We won't have to navigate to db.php in that case. So here in index.php, I will start PHP tags and the PHP tag. And here I'm going to say include. Now I'm in index.php, so it's a main directory. So I need to go inside config. So we're going to say here config /db.php. Alright, I'm gonna save this. Now we go to browser. Here currently we have nothing. We refresh the page, we get connection successful. So now we know that our connection is working, so we can comment out these statements. We don't want to show on our application that we are connected to a database or anything. We will be using this variable. So whenever we will be querying to database or inserting or fetching data. Now we have the connection set up, and the next step is going to be include the HTML, and we want to have some navigation to our project so that we can work with the login system. So here I'm going to say HTML, and this is the HTML content. Now here we have the title. I'm going to replace it with login system. All right, we we'll be including all our CSS into the head tag, and we need to put navigation inside body tag. So here I'm going to create a header, and in this header I'm going to take the navigation. Now I don't want to create navigation custom all by ourselves, because that will take time and we will have to add CSS. So we can use Bootstrap in this case. So what I do, simply I go here in Google Bootstrap Navigation. Now when you search that, you come across the site of Bootstrap. Now you can get the navigation here. You can see the navigations we have. So we can copy this code simply, and we can include in our project. This is going to save a lot of time for us. Now we have navigation here. I'm going to indent it a little bit. Alright, so that code looks good. Now I'm going to save this and I'm going to check our page. So if I go here and refresh, we have our navigation, but the style is not there. So we go back to navigation, Bootstrap website. There we have getting started. There, if you go and see, you will see the CSS CDN. We can include that. I copy this, go into our project, and in head tag we are going to put this here. So once I put it there and we go back to the browser, refresh the page, we have our navigation working as we want them to. So in the navigation, we want to customize our navigation. And before anything, I want to tell you what we need to do here. I'm going to put this navigation to a separate file so that we can include it on every page as we wish. So what I do, I go here in our project and I'm going to create here a directory, and it's going to be includes. You can call anything you like. I'm calling it includes because I'm going to put all the files in this directory which I'm going to include in our pages. So here I'm going to create a file. It's going to be navigation.php. Now once we have this, we can simply go into the here, and I'm going to get our navigation from there, put in here. Alright, save here, and we need to include it here. So I say PHP open and close tags, and inside these we say include, and now we need to go inside includes directory and then navigation.php. Alright, so we are including it. Now let's see if it is working. I refresh the page, we still have navigation there. So in the navigation, what I want to do, I want to remove this disable. We don't need this. We have, if I scroll here, we have home feature pricing. We don't need these all. So we have home here. I'm going to put href / so that it brings us to home page. Then I'm going to create a login. Alright, so it's going to go to /login and .php. We're going to create this file, and we won't don't want this right now. We will be adding more if we need, but for now I think that's it. So 2 links are enough. Now we have navbar as a, so the project title, I'm going to say login system, and it is also going to get us to home page. Save this, refresh, home, login, yeah. Alright, so let's proceed. Now we need to work with the login system. So to deal with that, we need to create a form. Now if you want to, you can change the login system with the logo of your website, of your project, whatever you prefer. So let's do that. For in this particular case, in navigation we have this button, and here we have this login system where we are working currently. So I'm going to remove the login, and I'm going to put image tag in here, and I'm just going to get the source and alt, and also the width I want to be 50 pixels, and height to be 50 pixels. We see that if it's fits fine or not. So currently I don't have any images, so for that we need to create another directory, and that's the main motto here to show you how we need to arrange our files. So I create another directory and I call it assets. Now this assets directory can have further directories, so I create a directory CSS. So whatever CSS files we are going to include, we can include in the CSS folder. Now in the assets directory, I'm going to create another directory with the name of JS. So any JavaScript, jQuery, UB, CDNs, if you be including, or files you be including, you will call here, not the CDNs. Now we need to include an image. So for that, again, inside assets, we create a folder images. So any project files, any project images we can include here. So inside these images, we need to add an image. So I have a image here. Now what I want to do here is, currently it is not transparent, so I'm going to make it transparent first. So for that, I'm going to go into zox.biz. Now the file is transparent. I'm going to put into our project, so XAMPP, then htdocs, there we have sky. Inside it we created assets and then images, and inside it we want to save it, so I save there. Alright, I cross this. Now if I go to the editor, here we have our file. I'm just going to copy the file's name, and it's a .png file. In here we need to provide the path through that file. So currently we are in navigation.php, which is included in index.php. So we need to provide assets / images / file name .png. Now for SEO, search engine optimization, if you're aware of that, if you want your site to be good in Google, you must provide the alt text related to the content of your page or the image. That helps, but for this project we are not going to do that. We're going to leave it empty. So save this, and if I go to the site, refresh, we have our logo here and it looks fine. Now let's do this. Now what we do here is that we create pages directory. So we need to create a pages directory so that whatever pages we want user to go on, so it is going to switch accordingly. So here in our project, next to index.php, I'm going to create a directory called pages, and currently we want to log in the user. So I'm going to create a file with the name of login.php. You can name it if you want something else, you can do that. But for me, it's fine. Currently, I'm just going to open the PHP tags here, and I'm going to say echo, and I'm going to say login. That's it. Simply, you can save this. Now, when we go to navigation, if you notice, we have the /login.php, but it is inside pages, so we need to change that. So it's going to be pages. And let's see how it works. So I go to browser, I refresh. If I click on login, we get to login, and the problem is we don't have navigation, so we need to make it navigation available to every page. So if I go and see the editor in the index.page, you can see that our layout is something like this, and this layout we can use in our login page as well. So I'm just gonna copy and paste here, this similar. So we have the style included, we have the database included, we have the navigation included. So whatever content going to be changed, it is going to be changed here. So we can say here is, I'm going to say here a div, and I'm going to say here h3, and it's going to be home page, and I'm just going to copy it similar way and log in here, and this is going to be login page. Okay, now if we go here, refresh, we get home page, and when we go to login page, we get login page. Now we are getting the config db failed, and that's quite obvious because what happened is index.php we called config. Now if you see the directory structure from index, it is config and then db. Now in login is inside the pages, so we need to get out of this directory, current directory, that is pages, and then it goes to config. So I save this and we go here, refresh, we have navigation, same thing, we need to change with navigation as well. So we are including navigation here, dot slash, save, go here, refresh, and image, go in assets, so slash dash, so we have it. So and I'm going to say log in user. Now if I go here, login user, and the similarly I'm going to align here as well, align center. Now this is login page, so we need to have a form, so you can say login here, and let's create a form here. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply call form tag, and here we're going to say now let's do this. We are going to use the pre-made Bootstrap forms, so this will save our time. Now we want our login and register page to look something like this in styling, and it is going to be predefined as it's a Bootstrap. So you can go to this link. This link is in the description. And the reason I'm using Bootstrap is when you be developing websites, Bootstrap is very basic and used a lot, and on many websites it is going to be one of the most demanded front-end framework that you need to learn. So it's not that hard. So what you're going to do here is, once you are on this particular link, you need to go into right click on it and then go into view page source. So we are going to see here a form that we have, and we have all the Bootstrap classes already working there, so we can copy this form. Here I'm going to remove our predefined form, the form we defined here. We're going to say here another div, and I'm going to give it a class of row, and inside is div with the class of call md4, and inside this div I'm going to put the form. Now I'm going to indent it a little bit so it looks better. Alright, I'm going to save this. Now we're going to see if it works fine. So we go in login page and refresh. We get it here, so the offset is not working. I think I need to remove the call MD, so offset is 4, and yeah, now it's centered. Alright, it looks totally fine to me. Now the similar way, what I want to do, I want to create the register page as well. So for that we need to go into the navigation. I'm going to copy this line, I'm going to put here, and it's going to be register, and I'm going to say login, it's going to be register.php. Now we need to go into our project, and there inside the pages we need to create another page. It's going to be register, or you can call that sign up, register.php. That's going to be similar to login, so just going to copy and paste everything from there, just like that, and we will be editing it. So you can see here, so if I go here, refresh, we have register. So if I click there, it goes to pages, register. We need to fix this. So we go home to login, home to register. It's fine. So it says sign up here. We can remove the title from the top. It doesn't look that good. It says similarly from the login page, we can remove this. Let's save this page as well. Go here, go to home, refresh. So we can go login, sign in, and register. Now we don't want this logo, we want our logo in there, so we can simply change this logo. Sure. Now register inside pages, just like the navigation inside includes. I'm hoping it should be working fine. Now let's see the browser. Refresh, we have our logo, login and register. Now we need to fix this, that when we go to login and then to register, it should go to register, but what happens is it goes to pages and then register, and in our directory we don't have that. We have it inside pages then register. So to make our navigation working properly, we need to put // here too and here too, because our navigation is inside the includes folder, so it goes one folder out, then it goes into pages, and there are the pages. So one folder out, then pages, and then there is the page. So we save this. I go to the browser, I refresh the page, go to home. Now if I go to login, we can log in, register, home. So it's working as we want it to work. Alright, now let's work on our sign up. So we need to edit this form a bit. So here currently in the register.php we have the remember me. I don't want to do that currently. We have this course scope, we are going to register the user. Now here we have sign up, then the email address label and the input for email address. Now we are going to do something like this too. So I'm going to separate it so that it's easy to read for you. So these are the inputs. This is for the email and this is for the password. Now I'm going to copy and paste to this one here, and I'm going to edit it because we need the username, and I don't want this one without username. So I just put here name, and it's going to be type text, and input name is going to be this. Now we could say here name, and placeholder, also user name, and it is required autofocus. All those things are from Bootstrap, so we don't need to care about that. We have the input with the type text. That's all matters. Now if I go here and refresh, we have username, email, and password. These three things we need to make our login or user register. So if I go to the text editor now, here I'm going to say register. Now this form is going to submit, and we can remove this for now. We don't need copyright or anything. Now we can submit this form. We can define the action. Now action going to be to a file which is going to process this form, so we need to create that file. So we can create a directory where we are going to put all the files. Those are going to process our forms. So what I do here, next to index.php I create a directory, and I'm going to call it processes, and inside this processes we can create the file. So I create another file, and it's going to be for registration. We can say sign up process.php. So this is what is going to handle the sign up for for our application. Now if I go to the register here, we need to define this path here. So I say slash. Now we are in register.php, which is inside the pages. So we need to get out of this directory once, --, then we are in the main directory. Now we need to go into processes, so we put that inside processes. We are going to get this file. I'm going to copy the name .php, and we need to define a method, and method going to be for this form is going to be post. All right, you can define post like this or like this, it's the same thing. So save that. Now looks like our form is ready. So what we need to do here is I go into here and I start the PHP tags, and here we're going to say if is set. It's going to check if we are getting a form from submission. So we're going to check here submit. Now if I go to register, here we have the type submit. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change the button to input. So I'm going to say here input, type submit, name going to be submit, and value going to be register. Now we can give this class to it so that we maintain the styling, because it's from Bootstrap, so we don't need to worry. Remove that. Now we have our index, and we can catch this submit. So I post this submit here. Now if it is submit, then we say echo form submitted, just to check for now. Let's see what happens. So I go to publication, I refresh the page and register, and hits register. We have the required set, so we need to put these values. So I'm going to put anything and any password, and we get form submit. Now let's process this. So when we get the submit, we need to include our database. So we did that in the index.php, the same way we need to do there in our process. So here inside a process, we are going to include the database. So we want to make sure if user is coming from submit, by submitting a form only, then include the database. Now again, we are inside a process folder, so we need to go one folder out to reach to that config directory, because if you see here, it's one folder out. So we can save that. Now we have the access to it. Now we're going to put some validations here. So to work with validations, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove these required, which is HTML required, which is because if we want to check validation through PHP, this is going to increase our time. So if you want to use them, you can use in your project, but what I do, I simply remove these so that we can work. And the email type going to be text, because we want to validate through PHP, not through HTML. It's a good practice to use this type email, but we are checking how to create this sign up with PHP, so I want to show you through PHP. So now in this case, we are going to get the values. So let's get the values first. So we have three fields. First is user name, and then we have user email, and to get the values we're going to get $_post for each. So, and we are going to pass the names of those fields to these so that we can check. Now if I go here, we gave what names, let's check. So this input had no name. Let's pass the name going to be in the same way, and this username we can pass in here. Now same way we need to pass the name here as well. We don't have. And the last one going to be the user password, and I'm going to paste it here. Okay, now what we need to do here is we need to put a condition. If empty, and we say username. All right, so this is going to check if it is empty. Then we are going to pass an error, echo, and similar way I'm going to copy this and paste this here. There I'm going to say email password is required. Okay, I missed the columns here. Alright, now let's see if I go here and refresh the page, register, we get all these break here, all these three errors, but we want to show these errors here. We don't want to show these errors on that next page. So what we can do about that is, now to see these messages same on to the page where we have our form, we want errors here, not coming to the next page. What do we need to do? We need to redirect a user when these errors happen. So what I can do here is we can simply put here location. We are going to use a header function for that, and header, and inside it I'm going to say location. Okay, and it's going to be the location of the file where we want to send the user. So this is going to be the file where we are here, register.php. So we get out of this, and then pages and slash, and inside of register.php. Now I want to pass an error, and that error is going to be we can set like what exactly the error is. So I say empty name, remove this, and I'm going to copy this and paste in here as well as here. Now here it's going to be empty email. Now here it's going to be empty password. So if these happen, it's going to send us back. Now here we can put exit. Alright, let's see what happens. So I go to the browser and refresh, and when I hit register, we get empty name on the top. So if I remove, for example, the exits, so if I remove this exit from all these three conditions, what is going to happen is that error that we are setting a variable. So first time it is going to get this value, then this value, and this. So a variable going to have only one value inside it. So it is going to be overwritten and only going to show us this instead of showing all three, because we first set that okay, and name is empty, then email is empty, but at last we check the password, so this stays inside error. So let's see what happens here. So what I do, I hit register, we get error empty password. So that's the reason we need to make sure we put the exit. So what happens is it is going to check for each field one by one, and we are going to get what exactly we are looking for. So user will have to fill the name. So if I say here it says empty name, now we need to check this that this variable is set so that we can show an error. So for that, what I do here is I go into the register page. Now here where we have the input name, what we can do, we can set an alert. So I'm gonna say here p tag, and I'm gonna give it a class of alert. Now this is a Bootstrap class, so not worry about it too much. And I'm going to put here the error. So it's going to be, I want to show this when we have the error showing up for the username, so that when we have this on the top, it should display here that this error happened. So what we can do here is we can put here a PHP condition inside this form. So whenever you be getting value from the URL, you will be using get. Now the variable we are getting is error. So we have error, and the error, now if I go to browser, it has the value empty name. So we can check for this, so that if it is set, and we can say, and we can put this into string, and we can say it is equal to this empty name. What I want to do, I want to echo, or we can simply do this way. We can close the PHP tag and start the PHP tag again, and in between we can put our HTML. So here it's going to be like this. You will see this kind of code a lot in the applications. Developers do this a lot. So here we are going to say a name is required. Alright, I'm going to save this. I'm going to go to browser, home, I go to register, hit, and we get name is required. Now this is the red and all this styling. This is from Bootstrap, so don't worry about it. Now we can do it small PHP tag, HTML tag, because it's too big. I'm going to save this, and then we go to the browser, register, hit this, but it doesn't align very well. So what I do here is I simply put these headers on the top of this form, because we don't want to work a lot on the designing for now. So I'm just going to put it here. Alright, so we are setting the headers for empty email and empty password as well. So the same way we need to show those headers too. So I'm going to just copy this if, and I'm going to say else, and then I'm going to paste the if. So it's going to be else if statement. Here it's going to check the header, and if it is empty email, now it is going to check if it is empty email, then it's going to give us the error email is required. Now if I go to the browser and refresh and hit register, we get the required name is required. We put the name, and then get the email is required. So if you see the code, I'm checking that if is set error, and if error is this. So we are doing this if is set error every time, which is not necessary. We can do it only once and then only check these errors. What I can do here is I simply copy this, and inside it I'm gonna say an if condition, so we can remove this is set from these each conditions. So we are just going to check this, and we're going to put this inside it. So we are first checking if, okay, if there is error, then check if the error is this. Now here we're going to copy this and paste it again, because this time we're going to check for password, and then it's going to say password is required. Alright, now I'm going to go to the browser and refresh. We get email is required. So user puts the name, then puts some email, and then hit register. We get the password is required, and that's how it works. Now we need to check that if the email is right. So if we are on this page, we get that okay, user will be putting the values, but we want to check if the email type is correct or not. So for that, we need to put a condition in our process here. So if these values are not empty, the PHP will process and go further. So we can say here if not empty, and so we want to run this. So we are simply saying that alright, if every detail that we are looking for is there, then we need to insert the data. and this time we need to check the email type before inserting data. So here I'm going to check for that. So checking user email we have here. So we are going to use a filter bar. It's going to be all capital, validate underscore email. So I want to put it inside a condition, an if condition. So if it is a valid email, we want to proceed, and if it is not valid, so we can do here is if not valid, so we can give the error just like that here, and we can say invalid email. Now when we pass the invalid email, we need to check for it. So here I can copy and paste the else if again, and this time it's going to be invalid email. So if it is equal to invalid email, we can say go to the browser, and we are going to provide some details. So I'm going to pass name, then an email, and a password, register. Email is invalid, so it's working as expected. So we have that error coming from the process. So if the values are there, it's checking that way. Now, once we have this, once everything is clear, we want to insert data. Now, before inserting data, I want to check the data if the data is secure. Is equal to $username. Now we either can do this here, so that that will be make our program faster. For example, I have the $username, and we can put all the checks here like this. So put it here and here. So pass it here too, and this goes into the. Now here we are setting the variables. We are going to set the variables in here inside. Now I need to change email here as well. Okay, so now here I'm going to check for it. So I say strip underscore tags. So it is going to remove if there is any HTML tags included, which is going to make our input from the user quite secure. Now in the password, user might want to add it, so we can remove from there. And here it's fine. Now we want to pass the another function, mysqli underscore real escape string. Alright, now the same function I want to put here too. Now the password, we need to secure it. We need to make it encrypted. Be a function password. We can use MD5, but this is more secure, so it's going to be password underscore hash, and we pass the password, and the second argument is going to be capital password underscore default. So this is going to encrypt it. Now once we have all these values, it's the time we insert this into the database. So currently, if I go to the database here, I have no table created. So let's create a table. So I say here users table, and I want let's create 4 columns. First, I want to pass ID, and it's going to be integer, and it is going to be auto increment, so I can check here. Second is going to be the user underscore name. Now we can give it a text or various characters. Now in this case I would say various characters because some users might want to put some characters in their name. You can give the maximum value. I say let's say 150 characters. Now we don't need an auto increment on this, it's just going to be on the ID, and ID also going to be primary, so that every time it's going to be unique and it's going to be incrementing with each entry. Now we have username, then we have email. Now email is going to have a character, so it's going to be various character. I'll say 150, and then we have the time. So we say created underscore add, and I forgot to add the password. So what we can do, we can add one column. So I can say go, it adds one. So I say created, it goes here, and here I'll say password. A password can have a string or text, whatever you prefer. I'm going to give a varchar now, and also 150. Created underscore add, it's going to be timestamp, so the current time when the entry happens, it's going to get the timestamp for that. Now we can set the default values here, but we don't want to set, I'm not going to set any, but if you want to, you can do that. You can set to null, like if when you put any entry, you are not sure that the user will be adding that particular. For example, if you want user to add username, but it's an optional field, you can set it to null. So it's going to be, if username is there, insert it, otherwise keep it null. So we have our table almost set, so I save. So our table is set. So in the text editor, now we need to write our query, SQL, and I'm going to write a query here. So it's going to be insert into users. It should match the name, user underscore name, email, and password. We don't need to provide ID. So here I'm gonna say user underscore name, comma, then we're gonna put email. Created underscore add because I did not set any default value. So here I'm going to pass the values. So we have $new username, comma, created underscore add, we need to pass now. So it's going to add the date and time when this query runs. So this is how it goes. MySQLi underscore query, and we are going to pass the connection, and then the $SQL. Now here we are going to say a variable, and we are going to put a condition on this. So you're going to say if inserted, do this, else do this. Now we're gonna do something like this here. So we're gonna put here. Now here we're gonna say, instead of error, we're gonna say success. We can set user created, and in else we can also put some condition. We can say it's going to be error failed. Alright, now we need to put a check for this. So we go here in register. I am going to copy the else if, gonna paste here again. So we are going to first check the error. The error if it is equal to this, we're gonna say something, or we can say contact admin or something like that if you want to. Now also this time we need to check success as well. So we wrap this everything inside the if it is get underscore error, get error. So we need to check if it is success this time. So we need to do here else if $_get, and it's going to be success. And if it is success, now we need to pass a condition. So we say if, and we need to check user created. Then we are going to pass here, and it is going to be just like this. Now I'm going to change this class to success. User indented a little bit, so save this. Alright, now go to the browser and let's register a user. We get invalid 57. Okay, I passed this. I need to put is set. If it is set, then do this, and then yeah, now we go to browser again and refresh. So we need to register here. Now I say okay, my name is Roger, email is raj@gmail.com, and then password is test, and hit register. We get a user signed up successfully. Now if we go to database, there we have the entry, password encrypted, time is there, but we don't have username and email. Let's see what's gone wrong. Alright guys, so I forgot to add the connection. When we use MySQL library escape string, the first parameter is going to be the connection. The way we added the connection when we here MySQL query, we added connection, then the SQL query. The similar way we need to add connection, and then the variable. So same way I need to add it wherever we use MySQL real escape string. So here, and we also use it here. Alright, so it should be working now. So let's try again. So I go to the browser and register page, refresh. Now here I'm gonna put any name and password, register. User signed up as successfully, browse. Now we have the username, email, and password. Everything working as it's supposed to. We have this login application, so we already got the user signed up. Now we need to make sure once the user signed up, it shows that okay, you're logged in, and we hide the register option and we show logout option, and we show some data according to the logged in user. So to do that, what we need to do, we need to use sessions. Now to deal with sessions, what we need to do, we need to work on a file where we can start a session, and that file should be available to all pages. So if you're in our project, we see here our directory structure is something like this. So in register, we are including db file, and then the page navigation, and then we have all the content. The similar way we have in login, same structure, as well as in index page we have same structure. So we can include create a new file and can include after db, or we can even do it inside this file. It's totally a preference based thing. So what I do here is I'm going to create a new file. So I'm going to call it header.php, and this PHP file only going to do one thing. It is going to, for now, it's going to do only one thing. We will see what else we can do with this. So session_start, that's all we want for now. So this is going to start the session. Now this file we need to include everywhere. So this is a header file. Now we already have navigation called our db file, so next db we can call it. So let's do that. So I just go here, and we're gonna say includes header.php. Now this way we need to pass it into login. We need to see if we are getting any error or not. Now if I go to index, we need to pass it there too. Now for index, it includes directories just next to it, so we don't need to put this. We simply say includes and header. So I'm going to cross this. Now if I go to the browser, refresh, we are not getting any error, then this is good. If we are not getting any error, everything is good. So what happens is when the user signed up, we are going to, once this happened, user created. Before this, I want to set a session. So what I do, I say here $_session, and I'm going to pass a user underscore name, and I'm going to put the value of the user, so username. I'm going to pass this value to this. Alright, so username going to set once the logged in successfully happened. Now at this moment we need to go into navigation, and here I want to wrap the register link with the PHP statement. So what I do here, I simply start a PHP statement and PHP statement, and here I'm going to say, so we pass here if set. So I want to reverse it so that if session username is not set, then we want to show the register option, and otherwise we want to show it. So we're just going to cut this, paste it here, alright, something like this, and we can even say else, and we can again break the PHP statements here. So we need to show now the logout, so I'm just gonna add that here. We don't have any file for logout right now. I'm just gonna create one, but to show it now, and now to make it work, we also need to call the session start here as well and sign up process. So I'm gonna say session underscore start. Alright, so now we go again here and refresh the page. Let's say mark 1 2 3 4 5 register. Now you can see user signed in and we have logout instead of register, and that's great. We don't have logout working currently, but we are going to do that. So this just changed because we are checking the session in the navigation file and here. So we got logout. Now log in, it shouldn't be displaying as well because if the user is already logged in, so only logout should be there. So here, let's save this. Now if I go here and refresh, we only have logout and home. So now the user can go to the register page. Now if we have login user on home page, we want to show some content based on the information of logged in user. So what I do, I go into index.php, and we can give some kind of message here. So here I'm gonna copy and paste the same condition. So I'm just gonna copy this, and inside it we're gonna put this content. So if not set username, then we want to say h3 logged data, and if user is logged in, we can say h3 welcome. Then we can put the username as well, so we can say here PHP tag echo username and closing PHP tag. So we should get a username there. So refresh welcome mark, we can say here UC first. This is another PHP function. What it is going to do, it is going to make first character uppercase. So if I go here, login mark. So that looks great now. So we have home and log out. Now we need to log out the user. Let's do that. For logging out the user, we are going to create another file. It is going to be logout process.php. And what are you going to do here is we're going to go to navigation. Now when the user sees the logout, we want to send to this file. So here what happens is this is inside processes, so we need to pass that processes / logout. Oh, sorry, it's assign a logout process, so let me copy the name here. All right, now for now, if we are going to log out, it is going to take us there. There's nothing, but what we want is we want that when user goes to that file, it destroys it and redirects back to user to the home page. So to do that, what we can do, we can simply say here that starting a PHP tag, and what are we going to do? We're going to say session underscore start, and then we're going to say session destroy. All right, and once the session is destroyed, we want to redirect user. We're going to use header function, and we are going to define the location in this case again, location, and it's going to be now we are here in logout process, which is here. So we go one directory out, then we go to index.php. That's it, index.php. And if you want to pass a message, we can do that. We can say here logged, we can say here like success equals logged out. All right, we save this. Now let's see what happens. So if I go to browser here, I refresh the page and I hit log out, so you can see we got login and register back and log into access data, and we have this on the top. Now either you can show using this, or we can put some kind of data here, but we logged out, so for that I'm going to put a notification using this. So I go to index.php, and now we're going to say okay, just on the top of this, I'm going to remove this else. I'm going to say if it's send $_get, and we are going to check success. If the message is success, now we can also check and $_success log out. We're going to put that here. Now we want this. Now we can see here logged out successfully. Now we can show it a bit better, but for now, just to prove a point how things gonna work, you can do this way. So I am going to pass a class of Bootstrap alert info. Alright, so if I go here and refresh, we get logged out successfully. Now we have register working and logout working. We don't have login working. Let's deal with login and let's make it work. So for login, I'm going to make things a bit quicker here. So I'm going to create a file. This is going to be login process. login.php. Now this file is just going to check if we have. Now we also need to start session here as well. Here we are going to deal with the form data that we get. Now here in the pages we have login.php. Let's deal with that. I'm going to close this and sign up process and db, and yeah, login.php. So currently we are using, remember, I'm going to remove that. So in login.php we only want email and password. So user provides these two values, we can pass the user. Now we can use Getregister.php's content to make things a bit faster here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the input from here, which is submit button, and going to replace it here. Now it is the value going to be log in, and the rest stays the same. Now we also can change, we don't have names set up there, so we need to pass names. So user email, I'm gonna pass that. So we have user email. Let me make it a bit separate here. So this is the email field, we pass the name to it, user email. In the same way we pass user password for the user password field, which is right here. Alright, let's save that. Now we need to pass this function form when submits. So here in register we have the method post and action this. So just going to copy that and paste here. Now instead of sign up process, we want to pass it to login process. Alright, so this is where it is going to go. So now even in that file we can still use the validations from our sign up process. So let's do that. So login process, we have session start, and sign up process is here. So I'm going to use this, I'm going to use this. So we're checking that if user submitted, then include the database. Then afterwards we are going to check these two values. So if we have the error, we don't have the email or don't have the password, do this. Now it is going to redirect register.php, but we want to redirect back to the login page, which is login.php. So we need to pass this in here instead of register. So I'm going to change that. Alright, now once this is done, we also checked for any email validation. I'm going to copy that as well. I'm going to paste here. I'm going to remove the username because we are not taking username. So if values are not empty, we have email and password checked. If the email is valid, we are using same filter var, and here we are going to pass the user back to login.php. Quite similar. You can download the zip of this code and compare both files and edit these files if you want to. So we have the valid email. Now we can work with the query. So here we are securing our data the same way. I'm going to secure it there too. So we have our functions at place and those values are there. Now we need to write a query here. So it's going to be $SQL, which is equal to. Now when you write a query to database, you can do this. You can go straight away to the phpMyAdmin and the table where you want to query. So for example, here I want to query and get the data based on the user details. So what I can do here is first I delete the first entry because there is no username. Now what I do, I say select you can type here your query and check if you're getting the data correctly, and then you can use that inside PHP code. So here I say select all from users, and I'm going to pass here a condition where. Now we are taking email and password from users, so we can use that. So we can say here email equals, so for example, user, whatever emails user provides, we are going to use that. So this email is not there, so I'm going to use this Roger Gmail, just like that, copy, and I'm going to put inside here. Now I'm going to copy this and I hit go. So you see it selected one record here, so our query is correct, so we can do that. So what I do here is I go into the code and I put this there. Now the thing is, we don't want email to pass this way, we want user email that we have. So we are going to pass email like this. And we also want to check if the password matches, so we are going to say password equals the password, user password. Now, so this is our query. Now let's take the query MySQLi query. The first parameter need to be connection, second $SQL. Alright, now we are going to check user found. If user found, what we want to do, we can write it here, so else. So if user found, we want to do the same thing that we did in sign up. We simply set the session and we gave a success message to the user created. So similarly, I'm going to pass here. So I want to put the username to session, and I want to pass, it's going to be, in this case I'm going to want to say index.php, because you're logged in. I'm going to redirect there, and I will change it to logged in. So we are going to put message accordingly. Now if the user is not found, in that case we want to give the error. So I want to pass the error here and redirect accordingly. It's going to be login.php, and it is error user created failed. So I go to login.php. We are not giving any error here currently, so we need to show the errors as we want to. So I go to the register.php, and here where we are displaying all the errors, so we have this PHP on top. I'm going to copy this, and the same code I'm going to put here. And now the thing is, if these errors are set, it's going to give us the error, so that's going to work just fine for us. We need to test it out. Now one thing that we need to check is that this success logged in. If user successfully logs in index.php, we need to give the notification accordingly. So we have the success. Now we need to put this is set and then check the status. So I simply do that. If is set, so we paste this, and then we are going to check the messages, and then else. That was logged out. Now the login process, we are checking the logged in. Now we're gonna check for that. Now here we can say is success, logged in successfully. Alright, let's check if our application working now. So I go to the page here, home page, and refresh. Let's say login to access, so I go to login. So we need to pass the Roger. I have it here. Now password was, I think, 12345. I'm not sure. Something went wrong. I think the password is not right, so I think we need to register again. Let's do that. So I register. So I create a account with the name of John at gmail.com. Password going to be 123. Register, log out, log in, and it's going to be John at Gmail. 123, log in. Something went wrong. Let's check what is not working. Login process, and so we're getting something went wrong. It says that our user created failed. Actually, we should say here, like, if something goes wrong, it should be user login failed. And we're going to change this in our login where we're checking for this. So I'm gonna change this because this is the login page, and something went wrong. That's fine now here I think something is not right with query, and I missed the single quotes, so it should be here. All right, now one more thing that I haven't checked, that we are redirecting to index, so this path is correct or not. So a login process is inside processes, so one directory out, then we go to index.php, not inside pages we are looking for, so we need to remove the pages. So here it's fine, and here it's going to be index because it goes out of the processes, and index.php is there. Everything looks fine to me now. Let's check what happens now. So I go to home, refresh the page, log in, John, the password is 123, log in. We are logged in successful. So when we log in, for example, I said John and 123, log in, we get the message, but we are not getting the links updated. The reason is that I got the query here, but I'm not fetching the data. By mistake, I added the variable straight away. So the way to fetch username and to put into the session is going to be a bit different. So I'm going to do it right here. So what we need to do, first we are checking if the query is completed. That's totally fine. And then here I'm going to say if mysqli underscore num underscore rows, and we are going to pass our variable, the variable that we have, user found. All right, and if it is more than 0, we want to loop through. Now here I'm going to use the while loop, and $row is equal to mysqli underscore fetch underscore sock associated array. So here we are going to pass our variable, so the user found, that goes straight inside here. Now here we can set our data. So for example, to see if we are getting the name, we can, what I can do here is put exit here so we don't go any further, and I put here print underscore r, and I want to pass $row in it, so you can see that what data we are getting. So I go to the browser, and here we need to log in. John 123, log in. I'm going to remove the password for now. Actually, I need to show you the way to verify the password because we are using password hash, so method is going to be a bit different. So I'm just going to comment this here. And now if I go to the browser and refresh, we get the details. Now if we want to print the username, we need to select the username. So I'm gonna go there, and here we can pass username like this. And once we have the username with us, we can put it to the data where we want to put. So what I do I simply say here, cut this, and I'm going to put this like here. So you get the name, put in the session, simple. Now then we are going to redirect the user. Now we are using the hashing here. Okay, array needs to be closed. That's fine. So we are using the password hash. We can't pass this here. To do this, we need to verify the password. To verify the password, what we can do here is like we are getting the data here. So if I go ahead and print it, for example, I say here print username, and I just want to exit out. Okay, we need to put it this way. When we get data from array, we put it this way. So this should be the same here. Alright, continue. We get John. So we have the data, and if I want to see the password, so we can see the password as well. So here, refresh. So this is the hashed password, which is encrypted already. So when we need to verify, so we don't need to pass password hash in this case. We just need to get the user input, whatever user input is. So user password is here. Now if I want to check that user password and the encrypted password is the same, I'm going to put a condition in here where I'm getting the data, the password from the database. So I say here if, and it's going to be password underscore verify. So this is a function that we need to use to verify. The first input it takes is the user input. So we are getting this from user input, and make sure it is not encrypting again, because this is going to take care of it. The second is going to be the password that we are getting from the database, which is here with the encrypted one. So I'm going to pass it here as a second parameter. Now this if condition is going to give us what exactly is happening. So I say here echo password no match. Alright, so simply we are checking if the password is matching or not. So we're gonna see this, and I have the exit here, so it's not gonna redirect. We should see these statements. So what I do here is simply go back, refresh the page. I say john@gmail, password is 123, log in, we get password matched. Now we can use this so that when we are getting the data, we make sure password is matching. Now it's the time we can set these session, so we can pass here so that we checked, okay, if the username is correct and data is coming from database and the password is correct, then set the username. Now if the username is set, we want to redirect back to the login page now. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back and refresh, log in, john@gmail 123, log in. We have logged in successfully, welcome John, and we have log out. So log out, we are on the main page, log in to access data where we are giving these headers. We can put some VR here. Let's say HR and VR. It should look a bit better then. Yeah, it's better. And there should be the same on the top, so that it's and a spacing there. We're not concentrating on the designing currently. We're just focusing how things are working, so that we have our content working fine. It's okay. So you can see that login to access data. We go to login. We say John 123. We have logged in successfully. Welcome John. You can show any kind of content here. You can have a user account, whatever you want. User can go to a logout, user can register. Let's say wiki, and then password is wiki@gmail.com. Password again 123 I'm gonna give, so it's easy to remember. And user signed in. We are signed in by registering. Now we can also redirect to your home page in this case too if you want to. That's totally up to you. Now we have welcome wiki. Log out, log in with the wiki name. So we're going to I'm gonna change it to wiki. Password is 123. Log in. We are logged in successfully. Welcome wiki. You can see that we have the login system working as we want. So I will leave the code for this in the zip of it in the description. We will extend it, we will correct the formatting, we will see what things can be improved and make it more better in coming videos. But for now, this is a basic login system for a beginner. You got the understanding how login system works and how we register a user, log out a user, and show the details of a user. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.
And our goal is now.